Wow. Guys, I cannot thank you enough. I never expected to get so far, especially in such little of a time frame. You guys are amazing. Like I said, I honestly did not expect to get anywhere near this amount, and I just want to say thank you. Anyway, I've had this video recorded for a couple of days now, but I haven't had the time to edit it, and while I'm working on that, holy smokes, I hit 100 subscribers. I never would have expected this, so I just wanted to tack this onto the start of the video and say thank you. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. But I do hope you enjoy the video, and I can't wait to see where my channel goes from here. But anyway, like I said, enjoy the video. Hello, and welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well, and I've got another Fire Emblem video here for you guys today. So today I actually wanted to go over some of my favorite builds that I've made. I wanted more so to go over the builds I used in the two gameplay videos that I made of Chapter 25 and Chapter 26. Most of these builds are actually some of my favorite builds that I've made over the 7+ playthroughs that I've done. But before going any further, I did want to mention Tiki and her ability Star Sphere. Right here. Grants unit enhanced stat growth when leveling up. So Star Sphere essentially gives whoever you equip it to, as it says, enhanced growth rates. Specifically, it gets plus 15 to all stats. Plus 15%, that is. This is especially useful on fixed mode, which is where I usually play. Now, the reason I wanted to bring it up is simple. It's a really good power, and I've used it on almost all of my units during this most recent playthrough. And assuming you're using the DLC, you should too. So we'll start off with Alir and Edelgard. As you can see, he has the Willy Glands along with the Genealogy enchantment in order to keep its accuracy up. Since you don't get Willy Glands until literally the final mission, I ran Alir with a silver sword up until that point. Going ahead and looking at the inherited skills, we have Speed Taker and Lunar Brace. Lunar Brace helps a ton with damage output and changes to Eclipse Brace whenever your Erica unit engages. Eclipse Brace is the exact same effect as this, but also gives healing with your damage. And of course, like I said, Speed Taker is the second ability, and another really good one. This one's from Lynn. Once you get a few kills with Alir, it allows you to outspeed a ton of enemies. Keep in mind, this is maddening mode, so you can't grind for XP, so keeping your speed up is essential for both offense and defense. So essentially, the main goal with this build is to rack up as much damage as physically possible while keeping your speed high, which Divine Dragon is also really good at because of Alir's good stat growths.
I won't falter. I'm not afraid anymore.
Onto Fram. Absolutely, most definitely my favorite build that I've ever made in all of my playthroughs, bar none. Mostly because of how wacky it is. Now, the Enchanter class is meant to be a support class. It has the ability to turn items into additional effects and can even open the convoy like a leer. But there is a little secret this class harbors, and that's right here. It has a B rank in arts, and Fram is actually the perfect fit for this build because she has an arts boon which raises that B rank into an A rank instead. Basically meaning this build can utilize Flashing Fists, which grants +5 speed. Okay, now that we've gone over all of that, let's get to the actual abilities. So as I said, she has +5 speed from Flashing Fists, which also translates to +10 avoid. Keeping up? So I also have on the Flashing Fists the enchantment of Awakening, which grants an additional +30 avoid, +40. She also has avoid +30 from Marth, as an inherited skill of course, +70. And finally, she has Speed Taker, which when maxed out gives her an additional +10 speed, which translates to another +20 avoid, +90. All of that combined with Fram's great speed and decent luck, especially when combined with Erica, gives her a huge avoid stat. But we aren't done yet. Again, looking at Flashing Fists, which allow her to attack twice, if she outspeeds the opponent, she will attack 4 times. And that's where Erica comes in with Lunar Brace. Lunar Brace gives her a huge damage buff to 2 to 4 attacks in a row during player phase, and she also gives Gentility, which, when engaged, also gives the user +5 damage. And there's actually one more thing. The Enchanter class has a power called Weapon Boost. I can't show you that power in this menu, but essentially what it does is it grants a different effect for every weapon type. But for arts specifically, +5 damage. All of this combined makes her an excellent damage dealer, as well as an amazing avoid tank, and she actually isn't that fragile either. So she could usually withstand at least 1 to 2 attacks. And this is meant to be a support class. So I guess the only support Fram actually needs is from her fists.
Tougher than I look! That's how it's done!
Now, moving on to Amber and Sigurd. Another fantastic build. And this one is definitely a little simpler than the rest. So as you can see, Amber has a pretty decent strength stat as well as strength growths, and that's exactly what this build specializes in. Starting with his weapon, it's the trusty Brave Lance. Brave weapons are some of my personal favorites because you could really make some good use out of them with the right abilities. But they do have a bit of a low accuracy, which is exactly why I put the fire enchantment to keep its accuracy up. Amber's personal skill, Aspiring Hero, actually helps him a fair bit with accuracy as well, so there's actually very little to fear when it comes to missing with this build. Moving on to his inherited skills, once again we have Lunar Brace, and this time we have Lance Power. Lunar Brace, again, like with the last 2 builds, grants you extra damage. Attacking twice with the Brave Lance helps with this especially, because it's essentially giving you that extra damage twice. as well as lance power, which gives you plus 10 damage, twice because of the Brave Lance. Sigurd is also pretty crucial to this build because of the extra movement that he grants, as well as the ability Canter, which helps him a lot to keep himself out of danger and, more importantly, keeps him positioned well to be able to attack again as soon as possible. So the first few times I've run Chloe, I usually had her on Griffin Knight or Wyvern Rider, but when I made this build, I felt like getting a little spicy, and so I put her on Warrior, a grounded class. Now, why did I put her on Warrior? Well, the excellent strength growths provided by Warrior help this build immensely. Axes, which is what this build uses, also have a great damage output. Alongside Chloe's high speed growths, these two are actually a match made in heaven, and I'm sure you could already see why. This build runs Lunar Brace. I'm sure you could see a trend with my damage dealers. But I chose this skill because Warrior also has C rank with bows, meaning I could use a steel bow to take advantage of flying's weakness to them. It also gives a good go-to weapon to use with Lynn's Astrostorm when you need it. Lynn also keeps Chloe's speed as high as it needs to be with both Speed Taker and the plus 5 speed granted by Lynn naturally. Surprisingly, this is another one of my favorite builds, and honestly, when I originally made this build, I really thought I was a madman, but it cooks pretty hard.
I've had my eye on you.
Another warrior? And why with Hector? Shouldn't you try to keep your defenses as high as possible if you're going to use Hector? I mean, he is a tank emblem. Well, the answer to all that is simple. Maddening mode. The improved AI on Maddening makes it so that they don't attack if they can't do damage. Because of this, Hector and Ike are both in a kind of strange boat where they both sort of suffer from success. Basically, what this build aims to do is to hit a sweet spot where Madeline will still take damage from enemy attacks, but not a lot of damage. That way, enemies will still attack her, and she will still counter back, which is why she has a tomahawk. That way, she can attack at close or at range. The enchantment on this tomahawk is the enchantment of blazing, which keeps her accuracy up as well, giving it plus 40. Moving on to her powers, she has gentility, again, to keep damage she takes low, and axe power to keep her damage high. And Hector grants her access to quick riposte, which allows her to attack twice when she's attacked, so long as you keep her HP high. Honestly, it's a fairly self-explanatory build.
You will get nothing from me. A result to be proud of.
So the last build we'll be going over during this video is Kagetsu and Veronica. As you can see here, I have him on Mage Cannoneer, which seems a little bit strange until you look at the powers. So Mage Cannoneer has a slight issue with hitting. As you can see, only 152 accuracy. By no means is this bad. It's not great. But Kagetsu's ability, Blinding Flash, helps with this immensely. In the interest of keeping accuracy high, he also runs Divine Pulse from Byleth. Basically, if he doesn't hit already with his natural accuracy, Divine Pulse will still give him another 50% chance. He also has Draconic Hex from Corrin, which greatly debuffs the affected enemy. The main weapon I try to use with this build is Venom Blast. It inflicts 3 instances of poison if it does any damage, which translates to +5 damage per hit. Alongside the -4 to both of their defenses with Draconic Hex, this actually grants +9 damage from any sources for that turn, and that doesn't even include any damage Kagetsu himself deals. As long as you keep Kagetsu near a Leer, he could always hit for at least 3 damage, thanks to Alir's Divinely Inspiring. Now, there are 2 reasons I paired him with Veronica. And those 2 reasons are Reprisal and Book of Worlds. Reprisal helps with damage, which obviously is crucial for Kagetsu to deal at least some. That way he could inflict poison. But the one I like more is Book of Worlds. You see, if you wait 1 turn, the next attack made will actually freeze the targeted foe. This is amazing support, especially when there are any pesky enemies or around that you need to remove from the fight immediately, but can't kill them. So all you need to do is shoot them with 1 Book of Worlds active, and that enemy is immediately removed from the fight for the turn. All in all, a great build, if you ask me anyway.
I am sorry.
Anyway, for now, I'm going to call the video to a close. So, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy using some of these wacky builds. Honestly, like I was saying before, they're some of my favorites, and it really doesn't help how unique they are. So again, thanks for joining, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.